Hi, Dr. Femi Oladele. Good afternoon or good day. Good to see you.
Pleasure to be here, sir.
Me, I'm really excited to have you on board today. Thank you for coming on board to Champions Digest.
I'm excited to be here too.
He's a big fish, my friend and my brother. Interesting. Thank you very much. Yeah, before we start our discussion today, I would like you to give us some fun facts about you. What people may not know about
Uh,
Femi Oladele.
I'm not okay. Actually, I find it difficult to talk about myself because most of my life is online. Check on LinkedIn,
That's
you see
fine.
virtually everything.
That's fine.
But since you're saying something that people may not know,
That's great.
maybe I would say that maybe my commitment to the things of God, it's not so loud on social media. It's something I'm going
Mm,
to get to my heart. And in all of my dealings, I would like that God is glorified. So that maybe that's something that people may not know. But
that's why. Yeah.
I I hold a position where I'm designing, developing, and very soon we'll be deploying a platform to help young people with their investment and entrepreneurial activities.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And maybe I should just add to it that Dr. Femi Oladele is a financial expert and also, like he mentioned, a child of God. And that's why we'll be speaking more today about purpose and finance and how best we can align our purpose in life with our finance, how a man can also be successful with the wealth God would give to such, right? Am I correct? All right,
Yes,
that's
sir.
fine. So to set the ball rolling, sir, let's lay a very good foundation. Align finances with purpose. What do you have to say about this?
Okay, so aligning finances with purpose is significant because, and you would forgive me, thank God this is a Christian content, so
Beautiful.
I can go back to the Bible and make
Yes,
reference
very well.
to
Yes.
Bible, to the Bible. If we look at from the beginning, when God commissioned men or man as it is, we understand that it was attached to a purpose. So he said, go and multiply,
Mm,
do this, have dominion, and all of that. And it was tied to a place of work. So we call it the Garden of Eden. And
mm,
if we look at true scriptures, all of the people that God used, he used them in certain places. And so, like the popular saying that when there is provision, oh, sorry, when there is a vision, there is provision. So it's best that when we are looking at finances, we look at finance within the confines of where God wants us to be. If God has commissioned me as a preacher, my finances will definitely come from that assignment.
interesting.
And so while I also stretch beyond that confines, everything, the major source of my finances should be within that confines. And this is not to say that we should not spread our tentacles because as we go on, when the opportunity comes, I'll be talking about how we can spread our tentacles financially so that God can bless and multiply us. And also, I'll be talking about the definition of wealth, which is different from money.
That's fine.
But the truth is that when we align our purposes with in God's way with our finances, it's easier for us to do God's will and also be established in His righteousness, such that in that place of in that environment where God has situated us, we're able to extend and grow and establish His counsel, even financially. It's not good that we say, if we look at entertainment now, and it's difficult to find Christians in entertainment
Mm,
doing great things, in sports doing great things, in the academia doing great things, in politics, even politics, which we don't like to talk about, but it's good
excellent.
that our purposes are aligned with our finances so that God is able to be established and glorified on earth.
That's fine. Thank you very much. This is really nice. I'm so excited hearing this. Now, someone will say that, well, I have identified my purpose, but I don't have the financial capacity. And you will see many people say, oh, I have identified my purpose, yet they are living in penury. And they will still say, it's just about this purpose. It's just about this purpose. Can we try as much as possible to expand on this? Where is something missing, or what are we getting wrong?
Okay, thank you for this very important question. And it's important because as children of God, we have to understand where we stand. Number one is that there is a reality on ground that even when we have identified our purpose and we are working in it, we might also be poor. It's a reality. But this reality should not be our reality.
Excellent.
Yes, it should not be our reality. Why I say this is this, I start from here. When God gives us a purpose, a vision to run with, many times he only tells us little by little how we get there. We look at the life of Abraham. When God told him to leave his father's house, he said, "I will land, I will show you." He didn't have the whole picture. But because we are overthinkers and overanalyzers, when God says, okay, so if God calls Femi now to ministry, I'm already thinking Oyedepo. I'm already thinking Adiboye. Whereas I'm supposed to start from the foundation, but I am already looking at, oh, I want to be Oyedepo. Yes, that's true, and that's good. But if we look at the life of these people, these men, we see that they also had beginnings. So most times we are in the right purpose, they're in the right place, but we are doing it the wrong way. That's one of the problems that can facilitate that kind of situation where this person is in his purpose, but the person is not financially stable. The second issue might just be that we are not engaging kingdom principles. So you see, financially, like every other goal in life, there are sacrifices to be made.
Beautiful.
You know, traditionally, they'll tell you that when you want to do anything, you have to make a sacrifice. In finances, in education, you also have to make sacrifices. So it's possible that person is in that purpose and working in line of that purpose, but is unwilling to make the sacrifice for that purpose. You know, also, we know in marriage, you can be married, but not making the sacrifices required to stay in marriage, and there will be problems. So in the same way, we can be in our purpose, but not be making the required sacrifice to enjoy that financial freedom, then we won't be able to. The second part of the question looks at how do we financially align ourselves to say, okay, I'm following this trend of purpose.
Excellent.
But I'm not making it financially. I would say also that significantly, there are principles to financial freedom.
That's
The
great.
church is not doing enough to talk about it. I say this again, the church is not doing enough to talk about it. So
Okay.
you see most pastors, especially Orthodox churches, they tell you, oh, if I talk, that's a pastor. A pastor will say, if I talk about it, people will think that I am prosperity inclined. People will think that I'm begging for money. But these are things that are able to liberate people. But say, oh, no, let's talk about it because it's a church. And so, but thank God for this kind of a platform where we can talk about it and look at ways for which extend our tentacles in that, because God's will for us is to be rich.
Fine.
And that includes finances. This includes finances. It even helps God's will. I have an argument I always make. I said that it's easier for, I used to argue that it's easier for a significant business consultant who is a Christian to get through to the richest men in the world than for a pastor to get through to them. So imagine that I am working as a consultant for Fortune 500, and they always see that my work is productive. And one day at a meeting, they're like, Femi, how come you are this productive? it gives me an opportunity to say, oh, it's Jesus.
Mm,
They will hear Jesus from a business line because
mm.
I've exhibited excellence and God has blessed me. But a pastor, they will be like, I beg, go and sit down somewhere. We're talking about money here. We're talking money here. Pastors, you can wait. When we want to talk about God, pastors, come on board. And so it's good that as a church, we rise up to the occasion. But thank God, like I mentioned, for this. So God's will is for us to be rich.
Mm,
And the fact that we are not yet rich, but we're still working in God's purpose might also be timing, which is the third thing I want to highlight. It might just be an issue of timing
mm.
because there is a time to everything. We
That's
read the
fine.
story of Abraham and we know that he was wealthy, but he did not start wealthy.
That's fine.
We read the story, and for like I'll give you one example of a sacrifice that was made. I had earlier mentioned the issue of sacrifice. You know that Solomon made sacrifices to God when he was anointed king.
Mm.
I can't remember the exact number now, but I think he sacrificed maybe 1,000 cows,
I'm not
several
sure too.
goats.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
more
not,
than that. Yes.
I can't remember exactly, but it was
Yes.
a lot of animals as sacrifices. And so, if we truly desire financial freedom here on earth, we have to make those sacrifices too. I won't talk so much about the sacrifices yet, so that it will be like we're advocating for something that is done. But the basis is that it is possible that we are not making those sacrifices. It is
Mm,
possible that timing is not right yet. It is possible that we're doing some things that we're not aligning yet. And finally, I believe that what can be responsible is that we are undermining some of God's principles. We're
mm,
undermining some of God's principles. So, for example, God tells us to work in a particular purpose, but we are using our own intelligence
mm,
or experience or traditions to want to achieve that. So God tells you, this is how I want it to be done. But
mm.
based on your experience, you don't think that it works that way, and you want to use your own experience, then it won't work out. So
Wow.
obedience.
Wow. Thank you very much. You have really laid a very solid foundation to what we are discussing today. So moving forward, let's talk about kingdom wealth. How do we define this?
Okay, so I will define earthly wealth before I now move on to kingdom wealth.
All right.
So earthly wealth, basically, many times we hear money, money, money. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. While those words are used interchangeably, they mean totally different things. Wealth
Okay,
is not just having money in your bank account.
that's fine.
Wealth includes values, it includes property, it
Mm,
includes your intellectual capacity, your health. And
okay.
that's why, this popular adage that wealth
Health is
is
wealth.
health is wealth. And
Yes.
so there are many things that come together to form wealth. So it's not just having money in the bank. If it's about money in the bank, some people would be alive today,
Agree with
but they
you.
are not alive because their health have failed them. So,
Mm,
so basically, wealth is an encompassing possession.
mm,
It's encompassing. It's not just cash in bank or cars or houses. It
mm,
includes family values, the values that you hold dear as a family, such
mm,
that when they mention the name, they say this name, they're like, oh wow, that name is a respected name.
mm.
So that's wealth. So for kingdom wealth, as we see from scriptures, kingdom wealth is, I would say, if I'm trying to attempt a definition from my head right now, I would
Okay,
say that kingdom wealth encompasses all of God's blessings and benefits.
that's fine.
All of God's blessings and benefits. And benefits includes sleep,
Mm,
that you don't have to use medication to sleep.
agree
It
with you.
includes rest on all sides. He said he
Mm,
will give us rest on all sides.
mm,
So even in trouble, it means peace of mind, joy, happiness. It means your ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it and how you want to do it, aligning with his will.
mm,
The alignment with his will is important because sometimes we might want to do things that are contrary to God's timing or God's desired way of doing them, then we will not say we are working that way. So I would
mm.
say kingdom wealth in short is God's benefits plus God's blessings.
That's fine. Earthly wealth. You said you will say something about that.
For earthly wealth, I would say that that's basically having money.
Okay.
having mobility, having the ability to take out rest when
Mm,
you want. So you want to go to the Bahamas, you can just say, oh, just go and all of that. So the reason why I'm making this differentiation is this.
that's fine.
There are people who have made money from fraud, but they dare not step out of Nigeria because they understand that immediately they get to the airport, they are probably going to be arrested for the crimes that they have committed. You would not say that that person is wealthy, even when the person has money. Okay,
Mm,
so basically, it's an encompassing session where you can express yourself how you want it and when you want it. Thank you.
wow, thank you very much. This is really, really encouraging. Thank you very much for sharing this. So we are still talking on the subject of aligning our finances with purpose. And you have been talking about certain principles that governs this. I think we should just start by talking about some of these principles. And if I may ask, someone has identified purpose, uh, the person needs financings. What does the place of budgeting, the place of investment, uh, especially now that the year is just starting. This is 2024. Many people will have set goals now for 2024. And they want to see how best they can achieve excellence. Please, can you just share more light on this? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I think I also missed one part of that question when you asked earlier that
Yeah,
some people have purpose, but they don't have the
they
finances.
don't have it yet.
So yeah, so like I mentioned, I used to refer, I answer in two ways. I used to refer people who have this issue to Habakkuk, make it plain, write it down so that
Mm,
you won't forget and you run with it. It
mm,
might be that it's not yet time for that purpose to be established, so you keep doing something small within your budget means. So if
mm,
God has told you that you'll be a great preacher, but you're unable to gather the resources to have a building, a shelter where you can begin to preach, we could begin by using social media,
mm,
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, drop content little by little. Then God begins to expand your ministry little by little, and then you get the resources to blossom.
mm,
Also, I answered this other way. It might be that God is sending you to someone or somewhere, but you're thinking that that's not the right place for you to go. You
mm,
know, if we go to the Bible, I think it's Second Corinthians or First Corinthians, it says, "Oh, no man, no debt." So some
mm,
people have theologized that you are not supposed to borrow.
mm.
But we also go back to the Old Testament. When the prophet was to help the widow whose husband was a prophet, what the prophet told her was that go and borrow a lot.
Yes.
So now this brings us to a place, a crossroad where is it good to borrow? Is it
Okay.
good to? And so sometimes we begin to now theologize based on our experience, based on what people have said, based on the theology that we have formed in our hearts. We begin to say, oh, it's not good to borrow.
Okay.
I know some people who say that it is bad to be in a cooperative, that it is
Interesting.
ungodly. It
Okay.
is bad to take loans. Yeah, I've had that. So, and I've had people who God has told specifically, don't borrow
That's fine.
for so period. Don't borrow. Even airtime. Don't borrow airtime from
Mm.
MTN. Don't borrow airtime. So we have to come to a place where we are sure that we are aligning our purpose within God's will so that we are sure that what God has asked us to do is what we are doing. So
Mm,
then now you have this purpose, you are working in it, but there is no money. What do you do? I would recommend the following. Number one, you can meet and talk to mentors.
that's fine.
And thank God we have, yeah, so we have people who can see beyond what we can see. They might
Mm,
be able to recommend. I've also found out that talking to people about God's will, godly people about God's will, helps you to also refine your arguments
that's
and
fine.
you're sure this is what God has said. I remember during my PhD time, my wife is an IT person.
That's
I
great.
studied accounting, but I
Mm,
was discussing my work with her. And in discussing with her, the questions that she raised helped me to say, oh no, this my argument, this line of thought is not correct. And I was able to refine some of them. So sometimes talking to mentors, talking to other people would help you to say, oh, maybe I wasn't looking at it this way, and you can look at it that way. I would also share my own practical experience before I end that. The second recommendation is that we can look inwards and set a target and say, okay, I don't have this money. I need this money. What can I do from now onwards and save towards it? Also, you might also be able to ask people to help and donate to your cause. I've seen people who have come online to say, I want to do this, but I don't have the resources. And God gives them permission. Funny enough, I was writing an article, which I was thinking I was going to send to the Nigerian Baptist Convention. It's called Solicitation by
Okay.
Missionaries. Should missionaries ask for money to do missions?
Interesting.
That's the question of the article, but I have abandoned it for a while. I think I have to go back.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it's also the same way that missionaries can come to churches and say, oh, we need missions here and we need support. I think we can also do that. And finally, I would say significantly ask God for inspiration on how to proceed. All of the men of God that I followed today, I have done my best to read about their histories. Most of them, I think just one of them is the only one that did not start roughly. Most of them started very rough, in benches, with sleeping under mosquitoes, eating 1 meal in a day, 0 meal in some days. But today, food is not their problem. They can feed nations if they want to. So I do that. So my own experience, in 2018, I woke up from a dream when God asked me to start an organization. And at that time, I did not have any money. Even money to do registration self, I did not have. And I believed that God wanted me to start. And so that day I sat down, prayed with my wife, and we agreed that, okay, let's see what we can do. And today the organization is running.
That's
Glory
fine.
to God.
That's
Where
fine.
did the money come from?
Yeah.
I just prayed to God that day that we need this money to do this thing, to kick off. And if I tell you the amount, it's so ridiculous. But we didn't have it at that time. We did not have it at that time. And someone just called and said, Femi, my CV needs revamping. I want to apply to an organization. Can you help me revamp my CV? I was like, why not? I will do it for you. And I did it, and that was it. So
Wow.
sometimes God just opens doors, just give us that access to get what we need.
Maybe that could also be a sign that for every vision, probably there's a provision that God has made. And I think it's important to just tap into it and see how far you can utilize the resources that is available for that vision.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So now my question on budgeting, investments. Yes.
This is a very tricky part.
All
So
right.
usually, why should you budget? Why should you budget when the Lord's Prayer that Jesus himself gave us,
Yeah.
that
Give
give
us
us
this
our
day
daily bread.
our daily bread.
Why are you budgeting for tomorrow when you ought to just be looking up to God for daily bread?
Interesting.
So I've had this argument in Christian circles, and I've also pushed the argument to
Okay.
sometimes. Why are we disturbing ourselves? We should just leave, wake up, and God will provide. But we also understand, if we look at scriptures, we see that God planned.
Yeah.
And budget is actually a plan with financial figures. So it's your plan, but you have now added financial figures to it. That's your budget, basically.
Okay.
We look at the creation story. It was planned out day by day. It was not like God would just wake up and say, today, this is what we're doing. He had planned it out, including his rest. Excuse
Sorry
me.
about
So
that.
even when man fell again, God planned another stretch to bring Jesus to the scene. It didn't just happen by chance. So this shows us that God expects us to plan. And so we should not say we are looking for daily bread. If it comes today, we eat. If it doesn't come, we fast. No, God expects us to plan. And how do we plan? Thank God for technology. Technology has come to give us easy ways out. There are applications that can help you to do your budgeting. But before you even start the budgeting, you have to have a budget mindset.
Great.
Your ability for accountability is important. You know that some people don't want to know how much they earn in a month. They don't want to know because they feel that when they know, they will overspend or underspend. So they don't want to. But it's right that we have that at the back of our minds, that God expects us to plan, to come into that mindset of accountability. Because once you enter the budgeting mindset, it means that you are saying, I want to hold myself accountable. Because when you now start spending or receiving that money, you are comparing it to what you have budgeted for, to say, okay, I plan to spend 5 naira, I have spent 10 naira. What happened? And begin to ask yourself difficult questions. How did I miss it? What happened? And all of that. So that budget set is very important. Second is to be able to enumerate and make provisions for unexpected expenses. So there are some things that you might not have planned for, which will definitely come up. It's good to make provisions. You are able to capture everything, especially for us in this part of the world, where black tax can just come. The family member can just call you up and say, oh, there's difficulty, I need help. Anything can happen. So make provision for it, but don't be stringent. Make it flexible because we are children of God. So if I plan today to say 1% of my monthly salary goes to charity, and once I finish it, I am not doing anything again, God can wake me up at night and say, there's this pregnant woman I want you to help. If you are not flexible, you won't be able to do that. So it's good that you have, if you want to use a percentage or you want to use a figure, to make provisions for things that will necessarily come. Also, it's good that when you are budgeting, you make provisions for monies that would also come, but you are not sure of. So maybe you are celebrating your birthday, you are saying, give me money, let me see. You can make provisions for them, but you cannot use those provisions to protect for your spending. So when those provisions come, it's best that we leave them as savings or to do other projects. So, about investments, like a basket of fruit, it's best to have that, but never ever invest in something that
Sorry,
many people
can you repeat that? Never invest.
never ever invest in something you're not sure of.
That's fine.
Never. Not good at all. But we thank God for organizations that have built capacity in that area who can advise you, even if you're not skilled in that area, they can help you manage your finances. But not everybody has gotten to that level where you get a company to help you manage, in quote, personalized investments. There are many investment applications that we can use, but I would advise that we run away from Ponzi schemes. They are dangerous. They are dangerous. They are dangerous. They are dangerous to the health. They are dangerous to mental health. They are dangerous to your family. You know what is happening with loan sharks, where you get a call, someone will insult you and lambast you for a loan that you did not even know anything about. So they're dangerous to your family members, and they can even lead to death. I had the story of someone who committed suicide because he was owing so much debt. And so it's not good at all. Also, don't fall for fraud and scams. Anybody promising you 100% in 2 weeks is likely fraudulent. Okay, then you can start small.
Yeah.
As small as 5,000, 10,000 naira now. And for other currencies, you can start from them and begin to invest little by little. It takes time to grow. Investment takes time to grow. If you want short time, now, that's when greed comes in, and then you get into the trap of fraud and scams. But when you use investments rightly, then you definitely would be getting the opportunity to invest for a long time and help you to grow.
Wow.
I like this song by Hillsong, Seasons.
Okay.
And that song tells us that God would have just sent Jesus to appear from the sky and just come down in 1 second. But rather, he said, no, he took the route of pregnancy, which is for 9 months.
9 months.
After the 9 months, this child grew up to 30 years or 33. depending on which theology you want to believe, and made that sacrifice. So we see that that's about 32 years or 35 years, depending on what we want to align with. And so if God will take that number of time to make an investment for which he's reaping now, he had one only son, one begotten son. But today, there are billions of begotten sons of God. He's reaping that investment. And so if we also want to reap investment, we have to think on it and then await for the time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, because of our time, in just about 1 or 2 minutes, I'd like you to just advise someone who is experiencing financial challenges at the moment. How can such come out of this? And at the same time, I would like you to give your parting words.
Okay, so financial challenges, I'll say it in two ways. Number one, maybe you're already in debt.
Yeah.
That is if we do a linear graph, that would be a -5 because you're already in debt. You need to get to level 0 before you now start to build again. And so for those kind of people, I would like to recommend that don't go back to more debt. Don't use debt to settle debt. Number one, talk to someone who is reliable that can help you to begin to make a plan of how to offset. If you need to talk to those you are owing, it's best to talk to them and work out a solution of how you're going to come out of that debt. The second part is someone who is struggling. You're not necessarily in debt, but you don't have enough resources to meet your financial needs. I would say that one of the advice we usually give is to cut down on your costs. But there are sometimes there's nothing to cut anymore.
Interesting.
You have cut. There's no cut. But such situations, I would advise that you need to go to position. If God would inspire Jacob to become better than Laban just by cutting trees, branches, laying them by the side of the animals when they feed, then God can give you $1 million idea that would blow you out. Yes, so that's that. And finally, my parting words would be first an appreciation for inviting me to this. It's a great privilege.
Thank
And
you.
say I'm honored. Also, I have to say that financial alignment with purpose is significant because it is where you work that you should eat. Stop looking for money, finances outside your purpose. It's dangerous, it's harmful. If you remain in your purpose, you can become whoever you want to. The man they call the shit man in Lagos at that time, he started the shit business. Today, in many organizations, you see his product because he was diligent. You can do your business anywhere. Food can make you money, fashion can make you money, entertainment can make you money, sports can make you money, ministry can make you money. It depends on how you stay within the confines of God's purpose for your life. And I wish you a very successful financial journey.
Thank you very much, Dr. Femi Oladele, the husband of just one wife.
Who is a woman?
With just one woman, we are so happy to have you on board today. Thou sayest a man diligent in his ways, he will stand before kings and not men. And one of the few things you emphasized today is that it's good to start little. Success is not top down, it's always bottom up. Thank you very much for coming. And we are going to bring you on board again very shortly.
No problem.
Yes, to still talk more about how we can impact especially as young guys coming up now. We need some of this knowledge. So we are grateful for having you on board today. And
thank you so much.
Thank you and God bless you.
See you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, sir.